Are you looking to become a better and more versatile iron player? Well, this is the drill for you. Hey everybody, George Conley with Scratch Golf Tips. Today we're going to be looking at an awesome drill and really a range exercise, a range session that you can do to become a much more effective iron player. This is something that I've done for several years, and it has really made me a more versatile player, given me more options when hitting into some approach shots, whether it's 100 yards out or 200 yards out. This is a great way to really improve your game. So what I did there at the beginning of this video was I took a distance. Now, it can really be any random distance. I like it to be somewhere between 140 and 180. So for this drill, I have a flag in the distance that is measured out at 160 yards. Now, 160 yards is a little bit shorter than what my 8-iron will normally go, but for the sake of this drill, it's about an 8-iron. So I'm going to be using 3 clubs throughout this video, and I'm going to try and hit each of these 3 clubs to that 160-yard mark. Now, if you have something like a flight scope or some type of monitor, that's a great resource to use. There's a link in the description of this video to get your flight scope discounted, but I'm going to start off with a 9-iron here. Now, a 9-iron for me really doesn't go 160 yards, but for the sake of this drill, I'm going to try and hit a pretty full swing. You see, I really gave that one a pretty good pass. Try and get it very high up in the air. So what I'm trying to do with the shorter of the 3 clubs is put that ball a little bit further up in the stance, maybe have a little bit of a fuller swing, and just try and get through it with some really effective rotation. Now, after the 9-iron is done, I'm going to switch to my 8-iron. And again, this is about a stock shot for my 8-iron. My 8-iron will go about 162, 164 yards. So in this, I'm transitioning from that big swing, a lot of rotation, ball forward, to that ball being in standard position with a nice controlled motion with the 8-iron, just as I would for any stock shot on the golf course. And that was actually a little bit of a knockdown move. Maybe in my mind, I wanted to take a yard or 2 off just because that 160 number is a little bit short for that 8-iron. But now we're going to go all the way down to the 7-iron. Now my 7-iron will carry somewhere in the upper 170s generally. So this type of shot is going to be pretty crafty, and it's not something that a lot of people work on the range. I mean, you think about taking out a 7-iron, you hit it 3 or 4 times normally, but you don't think about the knockdown shot. So this is going to be further back in my stance. I'm going to have my hands a little bit forward of the shaft and really come down through impact. Have some nice compression as I just worked on in that rehearsal. And there, the nice sawed-off finish. That one was a little bit chunky, but it was an okay strike. And that's part of the beauty of this drill. And now, I just found that I really hit that ball pretty fat, that knockdown 7-iron. So maybe that's exposing an error or an issue in my game that I can now work on even more. This is just a way to become more versatile, work on different types of shots, because as all of you know, when you play 18 holes of golf, you're going to have to hit through wind, you're going to have to hit under trees, over trees. There's all different kinds of aspects, and you need to be ready to handle that and have a versatile array of shots. So from 160 yards, after working on this for some time, I'm more comfortable hitting each of these shots. So back to the 9-iron, that was a pretty solid full pass. A big thing that I'm focused on for these shots where you're trying to get extra yardage out of the golf swing is balance. You can see there at the end of that golf swing, I held my finish. When a lot of people want to get some extra yards out of a club, they often won't be able to do so. So that's a great swing thought for, in this case, the 9-iron from 160. Be sure to swing pretty hard. You need to give it a good pass, but don't swing so hard that you're losing your balance and you can't hold that finish. That's a very important aspect of trying to eke a couple extra yards out, especially on the approach shots. So now we're back to the 8-iron again. This is a pretty stock shot. I took a little bit too much off of it. You can also look at the distance control. I have a flag out there in the distance. You see, that was a little bit of a fuller swing, and that was all over the pin. That was probably the best swing of this video. You can also get a great feel for your distance control in these, when working on these types of shots. Say you're hitting your 9-iron, that shot that you really want to eke a couple extra yards out, say you're actually hitting it too far. That's something that's pretty common. If you want to get some extra yardage, you might swing really hard and hit the equator of the ball and thin it out there a little bit too much, and that ball just goes way too far. And on the other side, when you're trying to hit this 7-iron and take, 15, 20 yards off, sometimes people exaggerate that too much and they'll take 30 yards off. So just be sure that you're working on your distance control. Maybe develop some type of a clock system where you're going from shoulder to shoulder. And this is just one of my favorite ways to play around on the range. It's a great way to mix things up on the range. I know that sometimes it can get pretty monotonous, so let me know how this goes for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any questions or comments on this type of practice routine, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you all very much for watching. Play well, and take care.